I'm thrilled to introduce the first of our Words of Peace, inspirational text given to us by some of the world's leading actors. And what a way to start. I'm delighted to introduce a great friend, a wonderful actor, a Peace One Day ambassador, and my fellow producer of today's show, Jude Law. Hi, Jude.
Hello, everyone.
Great. Thanks for being here.
It's definitely a first celebrating the Peace Day party, as it were, from my front room. And it's nice. I'm really glad you could all make it into my front room.
Brilliant. So, Jude, tell us, what are you going to read today?
I'm reading a poem by Philip Larkin called "And the Wave Sings Because It Is Moving."
Okay, well, Jude, why don't you take it away? Thank you.
And the wave sings because it is moving. Caught in its clear side, we also sing. We are born across graves, together, apart, together, in the lifting wall, imprisoned and protected, and so devised to make ourselves unhappy. Apart, we think we wish ourselves together, yet sue for solitude upon our meetings, till the unhindered turning of the sea changes our comforts into griefs greater than they were raised to cancel, breaking them. Such are the sorrows that we search for meaning. Such are the cries of birds across the waters. Such are the mists the sun attacks at morning. Laments, years, wreaths, rocks, all ridden down by the shout of your heart continually at work, to break with beating all our false devices. Silver-tongued like a share, it ploughs up failure, carries the night and day, fetches profit from sleep, from skies driven or star-slung, from all but death takes tithes, finds marrow in all but death to feed and frame to us. But death it cannot invoke. Death is a cloud alone in the sky with the sun. Our hearts, turning like fish in the green wave, grow quiet in its shadow. For in the word death, there is nothing to grasp, nothing to catch or claim, nothing to adapt the skill of the heart to. Skill in surviving, for death, it cannot survive, only resign the irrecoverable keys. The wave falters and drowns, the coulter of joy breaks, the harrow of death deepens, and there are thrown up waves, and the waves sing because they are moving. And the waves sing above a cemetery of waters.
Wow, 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 wow. The waves sing because they are moving. Well, that was moving. And thank you, Jude. Now, I'd like to ask you if you'd stay with us for a few moments more to answer a few questions about peace and Peace One Day.
Yeah, cool.
Hi, Jude. Firstly, I know that you and Jeremy have produced this show, and first of all, huge congratulations. You've created a wonderful lineup. And before I talk about your involvement and the journey that you and Jeremy have been on, I want to ask about the poem that you chose, "And the wave sings because it's moving." Why did you choose that?
Well, it's been an interesting journey from last year, which was actually the first year that Mark Rylance had the idea of introducing an element called Words of Peace into the Peace Day celebrations. It was a beautiful, simple idea to embrace the spoken word and all the different perspectives that the spoken word can be used to express what peace means to so many people. There are so many different points of view, whether we look back, forward. And in that year, obviously, an awful lot's happened. And I was excited to find a piece, but I kept coming back more and more to a sense recently of reflection as opposed to celebration. And whilst we are celebrating, I felt I wanted to choose something that looked at reflection and looked at perhaps a point of view of peace being something that is afforded to us to take our time to look at how fortunate we are, to look at people and who we've maybe lost. And of course, in times without peace, we don't necessarily have that. It is in many ways not a luxury, but it's a blessing at times to find the peace in your day, in your heart, in your head, to reflect. And this poem has been a favorite of mine for many, many years. I'll be honest, because I still don't quite know what it's about. It's so incredibly broad.
Yeah.
It's so incredibly impressionistic. It's clear at times, and then at other times you just think, wow, okay, that moved me, but I don't know why. And I think great poems are like that. They're like beautiful pieces of music. You listen to them and they move you, or they make you feel very specific at one time, and then at other times maybe they make you feel something else, or maybe sometimes you listen to it and it doesn't quite feel right. And so I chose it because it really, to me, throws up a huge amount of emotion. It throws up questions. And as I said, I think peace for me today and this year is something I want to embrace as an opportunity to reflect. And this is a poem that makes me reflect.
You mentioned there, this is the joys of poetry, is it'll resonate, different lines will resonate with different people. And even just listening to you read it there was one line, apart we think we wish ourselves together. And that just kind of resonated with me. And as I said, there's something there that people will pick up on. What has this year meant to you, and how has your view of what peace means? Because we look at in the previous panel discussion, and when you think sometimes of peace, you think of, going to conflict areas, but we hear that actually a lot of peace can just be within our homes. We need to look closer to home.
Absolutely. I remember when I first became involved with Peace One Day as an ambassador. It really took off when I first visited Afghanistan with Jeremy, and obviously that was a place. It still is, but more so back then, of conflict, quite severe conflict. But more specifically to your question, I remember being questioned often that oh well, peace. How does Peace Day work if we're living somewhere in Europe, or specifically in London or in Manchester, or where there's no war? And you rightly point out that actually what's happened from my experience over the more than 10 years that I've been involved is it's blossomed out. And people, I think, have slowly realized that actually Peace Day is also about your own sense of peace inside yourself, the peace in your home, or the peace in your workplace, the peace at school, the peace in your street. And of course, this has been an extraordinary year in which we've all been afforded in different levels an opportunity to consider that, and also to, I think, recognize that an awful lot of the peace that we are talking about today starts with you. And it's easy to look at places of conflict and feel whatever you may feel, moved by the politics of the place, moved by the extremity of division, moved by the violence, but that in a way the best place to start to understand it and the best way to feel involved is to understand your own sense of what does it take to make me feel peaceful, and on a day like this, what does peace mean to me? So the last year, or more specifically the last 6 months, have been really extraordinary, because I think we've all had a blanket of complacency sort of shaken off us, and an opportunity, obviously, to reevaluate the roles of many, many different people who are really just continuing doing what they always do. But we've finally been able to realign and perceive their input into our culture with great thanks. And then, of course, we've also been forced together, which can be a mixed bag for everyone, home can be a prison to some people. Home is also a place of incredible warmth to some. So it's been an opportunity for us all to, you know, in different ways, reflect on that. And I just hope, I've always hoped that today is in an opportunity for people just to feel a little bit of connection. And again, we know that connection is an incredible commodity. And I love that you picked up on that one line, because of course we have all had lots of time to sit around on our own thinking, oh, I wish I could see so-and-so. But then equally, when at times for some of us, when the lockdown passed, we're like, oh, do I want to go out? I don't know, actually. Yeah.
We talk about peace in our home and how important it is, because everyone watching this now, they're like, what can I do? Everyone can do something. But I do want to talk about that trip that you and Jeremy did in 2007 to Afghanistan, because I guess we're very lucky living in a country where we're probably privileged more than other countries. What was that experience of going to Afghanistan like for you?
Well, as you can imagine, it was really extraordinary and life-changing in many ways. Certainly, life-changing in my it was the beginning of my role as ambassador with Peace One Day, but life-changing also to see a place that was so reported, scrutinized, and you know, talked about in many ways firsthand, and that's something I learned immediately, and something I've tried to reiterate through my life, which is, you know, if you want an opinion of something, you kind of need to really go there or learn about it before you can really have an opinion, a proper opinion. And I say that because there was, I think, before I went, certainly from my point of view, huge amount of generalization about who was suffering for what reason. And of course, when I went there, and fortunately through the UN and through Jeremy and POD's hard work, I was able to meet a whole myriad of people from different walks of life. And you suddenly look at a conflict from different perspectives. Understanding the complexity of that was a real eye-opener. I think the thing that was the most moving, though, was, and I'm sure this is no surprise, the young people and people who were just trying to get on with normal life in a world where they were so used to war that became, it was like the weather, you know, it was like, is it raining today? I better take a brolly. There it was like, has there been a bomb? Has there not been a bomb? Are we under attack? Are we not under attack? And the sense of dignity and relish of just normality, like going to school, getting to school safe, or going to the market and getting food for the family safely and getting home, was of course a huge challenge. And so suddenly seeing that stark sort of threat and need to be alert was deeply moving. But as I said, I think it was the complexity of the scenario that gave me a sense of perspective, really, on a conflict zone like that. And again, I think we felt the same. I'm interested to know what Jeremy thinks. I said, because he does this day in, day out. You know, I always feel I love being involved, and I love doing what I can and helping in any way I can. But really, I'm just someone loaning my interest and support to a machine that keeps moving and keeps moving and keeps moving. And POD do work day in, day out. That's the other point of Peace One Day, is that of course it's not just one day; it's all year. But Jeremy, my point was, we saw a whole other set of complexities when we went to the DRC, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
I mean, it's complicated.
Yeah. I mean, so for people to know, because I know that we're going to move on to Annie in a second, but for people to know that Jude's involvement, you know, then led to everybody becoming involved in the process in Afghanistan, UNAMA, WHO, UNICEF, NATO, ISAF, of course, the Taliban, and a ceasefire was held. And because that ceasefire was held, because of the hard work of the United Nations, 10,000 vaccinators went in to areas that they couldn't normally go, and 1.4 million children received the polio vaccination. So I have to say, Jude, thank you to you, because the doors that you open, the way in which you support engaging people, the media that then generates, the risk that you have taken for so many years is why we're here today. You're amazing, mate, and thank you so much for your support.
You're kidding. I love it, and I love these celebrations. And even though we're not all together, I can feel the love. It's all good. And I'm coming back later, I believe, to do a very exciting interview.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. You're going to be interviewing the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, and that's going to be absolutely incredible.
I'll put my shirt and tie on then.
You get a t-shirt, he gets a tie.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you so much, Jude. Thank you.
Thank you. You're kidding. It's a pleasure always to be a part of this. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the day, and I'll see everyone later.